Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case. Today we're doing a recap and important focus on Kaden Pressey and Jack Newton post-death of Noah Presgrove onwards at a point in time when Kaden was with his girlfriend or then girlfriend along with Logan Jernigan and Logan's boyfriend at the time known as JJ Bumphouse, I believe, and it's what went down at the time when Jack Newton, who wasn't present physically but digitally, reached out to Kaden via Snapchat and a few words to say. For some people, you'll be aware of it already, but for others, may have not seen it before, and some in between might have forgotten. So just bring it back into focus again with what we've learned with time. Does it change anything now? Is there anything odd or unusual about it? You can let me know your live thoughts in the chat box on the right. If you're currently watching the live premiere, welcome. If you are watching on catch up later and anywhere in between, you want to drop any comments or questions or anything, let me know your thoughts down below under the video and we can respond there later. If you want to support the channel, there is a PayPal link, pinned message in the comment section, and to find the full playlist of this case so you don't miss out on any videos, top right corner, there is an eye symbol. So without further ado, let's begin. To start off with, as for a little bit of a backstory, I thought I'd just include Alicia's comments because this actually came in a second video that I did in the past when we were looking at the original point of view from Kaden. And Alicia added on by saying Kaden Pressey at the time was having breakfast at Jimmy's Egg in Duncan with his girlfriend, Kaden's, and JJ Bumphouse. And JJ was there with his girlfriend then at the time, known as Logan Jernigan. So it's interesting that Kaden did have friends like Logan from the party and friends like JJ, but there was a bit of a split and divide onwards, I guess, as we've heard, where Kaden wasn't really in contact with anyone anymore, and that Kaden communicating with JJ when that, I guess, reignited or happened again was actually during a live premiere of mine some months ago. And I think that might be the next video, what we do, this theme of Kaden and with supposed friends at certain times and the importance behind it when considering whether it be Alicia and her cautiousness or people online in the community making the observations that what really caused that split divide with Kaden and other partygoers and friends of friends, you know, the key factors behind it. So yeah, when Jack sent the last snap, Kaden's girlfriend took the photo, and the reason why the girlfriend would take the photo, I guess from her phone from her phone point of view instead of taking a screenshot from your own device, is because on Snapchat, if you take a screenshot, an internal one, it will notify the other user, the sender. So if you're trying to do it in a covert way, you don't want the attention, well, you best just take a photo from another device. And kind of the same method that was done, I don't know why, but it was just the same method that was done when it came to Mikey Lair and that Snapchat post of 527. It was taken from another phone, looking at the phone screen. So that's just to fill it in a bit. If you weren't aware at the time, Jimmy's Egg, Duncan. And I said, when did the Snapchat conversation occur exactly? Recently or months ago? And take in mind that these comments were back then because it is an old video that I did, and Alicia said at the time it was this past Friday, the 8th of the 9th. Now, I don't know which way round that is because the US can be different to the UK. I don't know if that means the 8th month, the 9th day, or the 9th month, the 8th day. Either way round, supposedly it was in 2024, I believe. Now, based off these dates, is it accurate enough based off what we've heard from Kaden Pressey and who he was in contact with up to a certain point and where communication broke down and where people parted ways with one another and then Kaden didn't really have any friends anymore? If there's anyone who's a bit cautious or skeptical, be sure to leave your comments down below if you believe that the date here is correct in regard to such as here with this Snapchat convo, because it does not give a date. Well, it says Friday, but it does not give a year properly, but it would have been 2024 from the looks of it. It doesn't give a month, not really, or the number date, but regardless, it's worth bringing it up now with cautiousness because of what we've seen previously, the way the case has gone, the discrepancies along the way with Alicia and Kaden, vice versa. It's been a complete mess. So That's the supposed date of when it occurred. To say it happened on a Friday, it's true that Friday, but that's all we know. And I'm just going to read it out to you. Hopefully you can see it on screen. I'll zoom in just a little bit. This is Kaden Pressy's point of view, and it was taken by another phone camera by Kaden's girlfriend at the time. It says today, as in back then. Jack Newton says, "Hey Kaden, I just wanted to ask you some questions." And Kaden says, "Yo, waggers," whatever that means. Up what's? I'm confused already. It's probably just slang. Jack, "I've been hearing all kind of stuff, man. Just tell me your point of view on the night and morning and timelines. And did you really say on a podcast?" To say on a podcast, that would be Partisan True Crime. And that did take place in 2024. So we do know the year, at least, of when this event took place, 2024. Jack refers to Partisan True Crime podcast, which Kaden attended on, saying, "Did you say that you were scared because you could be next?" Do I remember Kaden saying that? I can't remember, personally. Then Jack says, "I just thought I'd ask you before I got upset because there are so many rumours going around." To say there are so many rumours going around, where exactly and who by? Just members of the general public, online, social media, or other party goers? Because it is so many rumours at the time going around amongst party goers, but at the end of the day, it's Kaden Pressy versus everyone, because Kaden's timeline is abstract and stands out. Everybody else is all on point with one another. Well, then there shouldn't be lots of rumours going around, unless it's just within the community, the general public that did not attend the party. People originally interpreted Jack Newton's comment here as a threat, saying, "I just thought I'd ask you before I got upset." The word upset can be an emotion, but like an umbrella term. Upset in a sad way, upset in a slightly aggressive, frustrated way. Many different emotions can stem from that word. So, frustration, it could be anything. It could be major, it could be minor. But for people to interpret this particular line by Jack Newton as a really bad direct threat, it's the equivalent of Justin Roy screaming, assault when someone uses a pink feather duster to brush cobwebs off his ears. It's just a little bit over the top. Maybe that's how people have overreacted at times, over emotional, and then thought something was a threat when it really wasn't, and other examples as well. Why would Kaden Pressy be scared though? And did he really say he felt scared at some point? I don't remember it personally. What I do remember is Kaden Pressy said he would assist in the case and do whatever's needed, even if he, whatever happens to him, regardless of whatever happens to him, he's willing to go all the way. That sounds like a brave individual, strong-minded. Even if bad stuff does happen along the way, even if they are in danger or somehow get caught up in mess, they're willing. Jack's saying, "But didn't you say you were scared?" Why would Kaden be scared when Kaden was asleep here and there and was out of it, away from it all? Kaden, a friend to Noah. Why would Kaden think he would feel maybe he's next? What link does Kaden share with Noah to justify Noah being taken out to then Kaden next on the list? Don't know, maybe it's Jack's interpretation. I said interviewers in the past, if anyone remembers certain lines, you can leave your thoughts down below. But yeah, just tell me your point of view on the night and morning. So I'm guessing the night being Sunday, the morning being Monday. So at least Jack Newton can actually refer to it properly as for different days, unlike some. Kaden's response, or part of it, "Before you get upset, Jack? Really, bro? I should be the one upset, and I am telling people I'm messaging you to be friends again." Wait, what? To be friends again. Right, okay, so beforehand they parted ways, split up as friends. So what's happened since? Has it improved? Has it stagnated? I am you. I'm telling you, people, I'm messaging you to be friends again. I'm begging you to be friends, and you know that's not true. Oh. What, not true as in being friends again, or not true as in the timeline? Kaden says, what I said on the podcast was it could have been me, like it could have been me instead of Noah. But would it have been? Because does Kaden normally walk away from a party house for 30 minutes? If not, then it probably wouldn't be Kaden, right? Noah distanced himself for whatever reason, possibly making him more vulnerable. And for some people in the community, I believe it could be murder or foul play, more of an easier target when you're separate from everyone. Kaden says, I'm not really worried about anyone hurting me, just saying. I'm afraid of finding out my friends aren't really my friends. We shouldn't even be having this conversation. This isn't about me or you. We shouldn't be having this conversation. Why? Because of police matters, legalities, or just that shouldn't be bickering because there's more important stuff. As Kaden says, this is about Noah. And Kaden says, you want my point of view, my timeline? Jack, you were there. You don't need my point of view or timeline. You know when you bursted through the door. Does it show up on the next screen? Yeah, I guess so. That's okay. So Jack asks a question. Kaden does not give a clear, simple answer, but Kaden does have a point to an extent, supposedly. But then equally, in fairness, what we just got to mention as an observation is there have been several times in the community online where people have asked important questions for clarification and previous snaps and the Mikey Lair snap and more, and Kaden has not responded to people. There might be reasons for it, yeah, maybe. But, you know, when you ask a question, you hope to learn from it, and it doesn't always work out, and just reminds me. So Kaden's not worried. We shouldn't even be having this yet. Jack, you were there. You don't need my point of view or timeline. You know when you bursted through the door. You know me, Mikey, Isaac, and Brylan Sweat followed you, and you know it was dark as fuck. Only the service truck and box semi was there. But nowhere have I seen you say this, not to anyone. You know we all got out and you know who was there, so why aren't you telling the truth? Man, this really sucks. Just tell the truth, bro. I'm sure there's been countless discussions back and forth, such as with the service truck with a crane or without. Was it Cash Allsup or was it another random guy? Who did Kaden Pressey come face to face with as for the service truck driver and who told Kaden to leave? Interesting how at this point here, Kaden doesn't give a direct time, about bursting through the door, but Kaden has mentioned it publicly and elsewhere about 5:15. It's interesting now, Kaden does say, you know, Jack, that me, Mikey, Isaac and Sweat followed you to the highway. Mikey. And yet, ever since what we've learned, that Snapchat of 5:27 a.m, Mikey is at the party house. And yet, based off Kaden's 5:15 timeline, by 5:21 to 5:30, that Mikey was at the highway, as Kaden says, but he can't be in two places at once. So one person's telling the truth and another is lying. Which way round is it? It's very unfortunate, that. As for the box semi, what does that mean? A semi-truck? Or shorter version? Service truck, if it was 6 a.m. onwards, service truck, Cash Allsup. Semi-truck would be Tyler H, I believe. A pickup, Ford F-150, Tyler Hardy. A couple more vehicles, more than what Kaden counts here. Now, I don't know what we listened or read to in recent time, but where Kaden says to Jack, here, you know it was dark when at the highway. I'm sure there was a comment or a post somewhere wording it as if it was Jack saying it was dark as F and not Kaden, but as we see here, Kaden's the one saying it. Probably partially what reminded me to do this video, to be honest. And then Jack said, I need said you're begging to my friend. This ain't you, Pressy. Never not need. Yeah, that language I don't understand. But you've got the times all wrong. When y'all came to the scene, it was light outside. Ask, sweat, and all of them. As that little squiggle, I think that might have just been accidental or so. When, whatever it was, when you accidentally draw in the screen, that's all, no big deal. But yeah, Jack says you got the times all wrong. When y'all come to the scene, it was light outside. Ask, sweat, and all of them. Specifically, sweat. Ask him, Brylan. Why? Why Brylan specifically? And as for all of them, who's all? What, Isaac, Mikey? If Jack was to acknowledge that Mikey was at the highway, but the snap suggests he wasn't, well then, for Jack, 6 in the morning onwards would ring more true with Kaden and Mikey and all them, 6 in the morning onwards. And as for getting all the times wrong, ever since, we've seen some cracks form and emerge, of course, and it kind of puts Kaden in a sticky situation. In response, Kaden's final reply was, that really bothers me, man, that you're saying that it was light outside, man. So the difference between 5:21 at the highway, Kaden's point of view, and what he states, and then compare that to 6 in the morning. Is there a major difference in lighting? Dark and light? Dark and dark? What's the deal there? I'm not from the place. So if there's any locals that can remember around that time of the month or time of the season, what would it normally be like? The difference between 5:20 in the morning, roughly, and then 6 in the morning. Is it drastic, the lighting change? Because, night and day, I think people use that as like a term wording when describing stuff. There's a huge contrast, night and day difference, literally and figuratively speaking. And visually as well, you'd notice the difference. Either you don't see much or you can see lots and it's clear. It could be a little bit dark or dull, lightish, and there might be lights still on by vehicles, of course. But to be fair, I'd say the lighting situation, besides the time, is pretty major. When you think about it, when it comes to visibility, specifically when we're comparing when it's dark to when it's light, you'll see things differently in different lights, of course. And when it's dark, night, or really early hours of the morning or so, getting on a bit. And if there's no proper light source, such as with the highway, as we know, but you might add in the fact of vehicles present with headlights, beams, and all that, which can be a little bit blinding at times. Too much light, concentrated, it might be a bit too much. It might obscure your vision. Also comes down to how far you are from, such as the body of Noah Presgrove. But, if it's light, morning time, crystal clear, you can see everything all in sight. Such as like with Jack Newton, that around 6 in the morning when coming on down to the highway and stopping by because I've seen what's about, and from a certain distance, whilst in the vehicle, being able to clearly identify that that's your best friend dead on the side of the road. Clear enough, clear as daylight, literally, for Jack to be able to recognise that. But with Kaden Pressy, if he was in the same situation, if it was darker, if it was earlier on when things came about, the only reason why Kaden Pressy knew that it was Noah Presgrove dead on the side of the highway is because Jack told him. If Kaden Pressy was maybe just driving down the highway, unaware of what was ahead, would Kaden be able to recognise from in the vehicle he's driving as when looking through the window, when driving by or when stopping at certain distances like what Jack did, looking through, you might be able to see something. Would you be able to clearly identify whether it's Noah or not? If Kaden is able to identify Noah from his vehicle point of view as Jack is able to as well, then you should be able to, in a way, maybe clearly identify whether Noah was clothed or not at the time. And obviously, with what Kaden says, black shorts, that's what Noah was wearing. If it wasn't black shorts, if it was white shorts, would it be any better, the situation with what Kaden says? Not really, because you'd add in the problem of, well, if you can identify that Noah's wearing some form of clothing, some form of shorts, it's going to be easier to possibly identify white shorts on a person rather than black shorts, because in the dark, the white will stand out a little bit more. Of course, if it was reflective, much more, but just the colour white will stand out more compared to just pure black if you're in a dark area. And you'd be thinking, well, how can Kaden get mixed up between white and black shorts? But then, regardless, even if Noah was wearing black or white shorts, the fact that it was mentioned that the white shorts, at least later on in time, if we're talking about Kaden's timeline to when the likes of Tyler Hardy came on down, they noticed something was in the middle of the roadway, which turned out to be the white shorts with no observable damage, but maybe it had some stains on or markings, who knows. But, to work out how shorts can end up in the middle of the road could have fallen off Noah if, based on the theory of Noah falling out of a moving vehicle and the shorts tug on the vehicle itself and then eventually blow off in the wind a bit further on and then land in the middle of the roadway. If, let's just say, and I'm giving you a scenario, black or white, more so white shorts, if Kaden, different scenario, if Kaden Pressey was to say with his same timeline of 5:21 to 5:30 when at the scene, highway, Kaden saw Noah was wearing white shorts. This is just a scenario. I'm not putting words into Kaden's mouth. I'm just giving you an example to prove my point. If Kaden said that Noah's wearing white shorts at the time, then later other people come on down and they say Noah is naked. The shorts, the white ones, were found in the middle of the road. Well, based off that, you've got a dead body earlier on with white shorts on, and then later you got a naked body with white shorts in the middle of the road. That would seem to indicate possible or higher chances of it being foul play. But there's no comparative tool, is there? Yes, Kaden may say Noah was clothed earlier on, and then later others say, well, from what we can see, Noah is naked. Something's happened in between. Oh, the supposed tampering. But there is a big but, and that is the colour of the shorts. And now, in the past, I gave an alternative that maybe Noah was wearing black shorts and then they were taken off and then replaced with white ones, but unable to replace them because there was vehicles oncoming, so they just chucked them up in the air and it landed in the middle of the roadway. How realistically possible is that now? Maybe not as much when looking at the alternative theories and ideas, but no need to completely brush it aside. Still keep it acknowledged in the background. But, if Kaden was to say, I saw the same colour shorts that were later to be found in the middle of the road, well, I saw them on Noah's body earlier, there's a consistency at least with the type and the colour of shorts. And if there is consistency in what Kaden sees and what others see later, being able to recognise the type and colour of shorts, there's more truth behind it. But of course, depending on the lighting as well, if you can identify that there is clothing on a person's body and it is white, it'll probably stand out more and be clearer. And if Kaden was able to see that, and if he was consistent in saying it that way, then it would highlight and make it more strange and more likely foul play for then later to be heard about the white shorts being in the middle of the roadway. But we can't compare because Kaden saw black shorts, other people saw white shorts. Now, if the lighting was really bad and it was hard to see, maybe from a distance you could mistake Noah for being clothed if it was dark or if there was some kind of shadowing. As said, Kaden didn't need to get up close to identify it was Noah because Jack told Kaden it was Noah from earlier on. I don't know if people did ever respond about, but when it comes to finding a middle ground, a little bit of consistency, I'm guessing that would be, regardless of the time, the event of which Jack came through the door of the party house to alert people of the news. Does everyone agree with that, regardless of what time it was announced? Is that exactly what happened? Is that the exact action what Jack did? If so, well then that's something. But besides that, if it was dark and you were at a distance, but you were told it's Noah, you wouldn't need to get too close to actually confirm it if it's already been confirmed beforehand. But of course, Kaden says, or had said, he walked up to Noah's body. He's able to talk about how the positioning of Noah's body was. Now, if you're from a bit of a distance, you might be able to tell anyway. Is there a difference between in dark lighting when your skin flesh is exposed, unclothed, compared to other areas which are clothed, like the shorts? Black shorts on a body may blend in better with dark lighting, but your hands and legs may stand out even in darkness because of it just being a different colour, maybe? I don't know if I'm stretching too far there. What I'm getting at is if you could identify, because if Noah was, and from how it's been said for most part of it, I think there seems to be a consistency that Noah was topless during the party and after. There's a bit of consistency there at least. Topless over the time and topless during the death from the looks of it. So your skin, your chest, your arms as well, because you've got nothing covering them, is going to be exposed and seen. As for the legs, well, lower down on the legs and the knees and then the calves, the feet, they're going to be, well, not the feet if you're wearing shoes, but the leg part, lower leg section, that's going to be exposed skin to, you know, publicly, visibly seeing and standing out more in the dark. Of course, if you just have a torch or a light and it's like focusing towards near the body, you're probably going to see the clothing, but just because of the colour of it, and if it's dark, it might make it hard to identify or see. But if it was light at 6 in the morning, and based off the other factors, what we've learned with time to suggest Kaden may have got it wrong as for the timing, because we have looked at those factors, haven't we? So let's just say it is light at 6 in the morning. Is that true? Because I'm not from there. I wasn't there at the time, or not even from that place around at the time. If there's any locals that watch these videos, just let me know. Can you roughly remember whether it was light or dark on that day, or roughly around that time, that month, at around 6 in the morning onwards? Because can you make mistakes with times? Are you out by an hour? You're out by 30 minutes. Maybe you got confused. Maybe it's the trauma speaking. Maybe it's your mind, your memory lost with time. But when it's so crystal clear, like with the lighting, night and day difference, dark, light, one or the other. If it's dark, you may be forgiven for not being able to clearly identify everything in the moment. But if it's light and you can see everything in sight from a distance or up close, surely you'll be able to identify whether it was black shorts or nothing, right? And if it's light enough, what about the white shorts? Is there any, just like a side factor, if it was 5:15 onwards, and if Noah was wearing black shorts, was there anything in the middle of the roadway at that point then? Or did Kaden not look over there? Maybe not. Just a little side question, that's all. But would you be as mistaken? Would you be as like treated more leniently if it was morning light and bright and colourful and you could clearly see everything in sight? How could you manage to get mixed up or mistaken for? Especially if you're up close. Is there any discrepancies there with how close Kaden was to Noah's body? I mean, the only counterpoint would be what we saw recent time by Alicia speaking on behalf of Kaden. And Alicia had said, well, from what Kaden says, the service truck man guy got a towel himself to try and cover Noah, or out of privacy, and was telling Kaden to leave. But when did that happen? Did the service truck get the towel before Kaden got his towel, or what? Because at least from how Kaden was wording it, Kaden was near to Noah's body for however how long, then returned back to his truck, his vehicle, to get a towel or blanket out of respect to cover Noah's body. And then when returning back, that's when the service truck guy said, "You need to leave," was aggressive and swore at Kaden. And Kaden complied. But obviously how Alicia words it, she didn't acknowledge that on behalf of Kaden Pressey, just mentioned that the service truck guy took over and covered Noah's body. Now, it's an important factor because besides lighting, distance can also impact your vision and perception as to what you see from a certain angle, certain draw distance and whatnot, and lighting does add and stack as well. Did Kaden actually get close to Noah's body, or did he not get that close? If you're further away, you could be excused to some extent in misidentifying details, but the closer you are, the clearer it should be. But then maybe some counterpoints would be the closer you are, the clearer it is, the more traumatizing it is, and longer term, a greater effect on the mind and memory and the self-defense mechanisms within the brain, pushing conscious thoughts and memory recollections of trauma and bad events to the subconscious, to the unconscious, and then maybe forgetting or losing sight of that accuracy and sharpness to protect yourself. Different ways of looking at it, of course. So I just wanted to bring it up, but the whole situation with the diner, that at a point in time previously in 2024, that Kaden was still friends with Logan, Jernigan, and JJ Bumpers. And then after that, no longer friends. So based off the dates which were supposedly provided by Alicia, are they accurate enough? I think it was in the Partners in True Crime interview when Kaden may have said that's when he parted ways with his friends, or when people distanced themselves from him. But did the event of Kaden, because I'm trying to remember it all in my head, depends how accurate, I guess, what Alicia says with those dates and numbers and which way round it's meant. Is it the 8th month, or is it the 8th day and then the other number is the month? I don't know how it's arranged because it differs from country to country. All I do know is it was July of 2024 when Kaden Pressey did the Partners in True Crime public interview part 1. So the timing of that, does it overlap? Does it coincide? Is it before or after the possible event of Kaden being in the diner with his girlfriend and JJ Bumpers as a friend and JJ's girlfriend Logan? I wonder. Just to see if it's ties up, because there might be some skepticism by some that say the Snapchats or the dates or times may have been altered or manipulated. Granted, with what we've seen today and what we've seen in the past, these particular Snapchat posts do not show a clear time. It just gives the day, but not in numbers, a Friday. And then a time within the day, and that's it. No proper date. So if anyone does know or can back it up or debunk it, you're welcome to do so in the comment section. Just wanted to try and go over it as close as possible, bring it all back together. So it's not just 2 separate videos, one with an update and one before. It's like all bringing it back together again. Will it spark anything from this? I don't know. But the theme of such as Kaden being in the same presence as JJ, well, have they been since? Maybe not. When's the last time though? Not too sure, but at least online it would have been that live premiere that I did. So maybe the next video with this theme, I'll try and possibly look at the lake visit between Kaden and JJ and the conflict there. Bit of a recap, but it's a very important one to really highlight it. And I don't know if there's any names given, locations, but I can use the map for that and do a bit of an analysis based on the timing and the possible routes taken and beyond. So be on the lookout for it. I hope you found this video somewhat interesting. If you want to hit the share button and the thumbs up, that'd be much appreciated. And the full playlist is top right corner. My name is Warlight Raf. See you next time. Goodbye for now.